Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As guys, we've been seeing over the past couple weeks, the most massive crypto accounts on the planet, BitBoy, Coin Bureau, Mark Moss, and notorious Bitcoin Maxi, all begin to reference this Ripple and XRP case. BitBoy stated as long as XRP gets a favorable settlement and no appeal, this will be the #1 performing coin of the next bull run, and I 100% agree. We have massive things happening with the XRP community, these bank failures, and the de-dollarization of the world. And in today's video, I'm going to show you a number of power clips that are going to give you better context as to why you need to own this digital asset into the future and beyond. First and foremost, Marco Rubio on Fox gave us all an indication that in the future, the SWIFT system will not be able to sanction countries as the entire world is moving away from using the dollar as the world's reserve currency.
Today, Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to, from now on, do trade in their own currencies, get right around the dollar. They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them.
And ladies and gentlemen, the cascading effect continues. Crypto Mason stated China will be investing around 40 billion into Malaysia, and right afterwards, the Malaysian Prime Minister stated there's no reason to continue to depend on the US dollar. Do you think there are any coincidences in the world stage? Absolutely not. Saudi Arabia, Iran, China, Malaysia, Brazil, all these countries all at once coming during a great point of American weakness as the former president is getting indicted just for the people to react emotionally and be distracted away from what's really important. Ladies and gentlemen, there are no coincidences in the world, and something interesting that I want all of you to pay extremely close attention to is this next clip from the current Vice President Kamala Harris. This was presented by 801XRP, and she's discussing financial inclusion, speaking on how the internet brought millions of people to the formal financial system. I'm issuing a call to action on the private sector and to philanthropic communities to support these initiatives and work alongside and achieve these goals. Ladies and gentlemen, Stellar and Ripple, both of them have a mission statement of banking the unbanked and bringing financial inclusion to the world. Calling on the private sector, cough cough Ripple, and a philanthropic community, cough cough, Stellar is a nonprofit. Could very well be Ripple and XRP, and Stellar and the Lumen. These technologies were meant to solve these problems, and as this banking system is failing, the new system will rise out of the ashes and shock everyone. Do not be surprised when this happens. It's only a matter of time. And I want you to listen to this clip, listen to the language, and know how important it is.
Million people to the internet and brought more than 1 million people thus far into the formal financial system. So we know this approach works. We know this approach works. So now, on my final day on the continent, for now, I have convened this group of business and philanthropic leaders in Lusaka to discuss how we can continue to invest and pursue long-term economic growth together. Many of you at this table and the folks that you work with have a history of doing work on this continent, and we will benefit, I strongly believe, from hearing from you and from lessons learned. There are many areas of focus of this public-private partnership, but there are some in particular that I believe have been most effective and are the main focus of my trip this time. And one of them is the issue of digital inclusion.
Would you look at that? Digital inclusion. For anyone that thought I was just bringing this up from left field, think again.
So when we think about where we are in terms of 21st century economies, digital services are essential to 21st century economies. Digital technologies facilitate opportunities across society and, frankly, I believe can be great equalizers in terms of giving those who have access equal opportunity and availability to information, to education, to networks in a way that improves and empowers themselves, their families, their community, and all of society benefits. And of course, when we talk about digital access, we are talking about everything from financial inclusion to economic opportunities, all of which obviously drive growth and innovation. Africa's digital economy is large and growing. Within the next 2 years, for example, the forecast is that 1 in 6 of the world's internet users will be right here on this continent. 1 in 6. Over the last decade, Africa has continued growth in its digital infrastructure. Examples include innovative mobile phone payment systems in Kenya, fintech in Nigeria, and the delivery of health supplies by a drone in Ghana that has been replicated in the United States. All to say, there are places on the continent of Africa that are leading the world in digital solutions. Yet, in other places on the continent, we see that there is a lag and that there are many who lag behind. And we must be clear about the challenges presented to close these gaps and then commit to take action, because solutions are within sight and within reach. So to address this, last December at the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, President Joe Biden launched the Digital Transformation with Africa initiative. It is a government initiative, so it has an acronym, and it is DTA. So you will see it referred to often as DTA. But the President is very excited about this initiative, as am I. And it is part of a broader initiative and approach that is named the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, or PGII. And President Biden, through these initiatives, has pledged to work with the United States Congress to invest $350 million and to facilitate nearly $500 million in development financing to make sure that people across the continent can participate in the digital and global economy. As a next step, today, I'm issuing a call to action to the private sector and the philanthropic community to support these initiatives and work alongside us to achieve the goals of DTA and PGII. More specifically, I call on the private sector to explore opportunities to make direct investments and social impact commitments in areas such as increasing access to mobile banking, financing, and insurance, especially for women, digitizing small businesses to help them become part of the formal economy, providing tools, skills, and training to promote digital literacy, and increasing the use and development of apps. On that last point, I'd ask you to just imagine your own smartphone and the apps that it contains, and what those apps then give you in terms of access to a myriad of information and systems that help you go about your daily life.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you took as much out of that as I did. That's a great indication with a lot of subliminal language that we use in this community frequently. All I want every single one of you to do is pay attention. The digital payments revolution and the digital financial inclusion space is accelerating in real time, even in the highest levels of the executive branch of the United States. Now, guys, Without further ado, I have yet another longer clip to play for all of you. Typically, I don't like making my videos too clip intensive, but these two clips piggyback off of each other to let all of you know, one, that the financial inclusion revolution is coming just as this banking collapse is taking place, and two, Ripple and XRP are going to be playing a major role in it. Anthony Welfare, CBDC advisor at Ripple, had a powerful interview recently in presentation where he deep dives into Ripple and XRP's role into CBDC adoption. And I think it's a powerful clip to add additional context to what we heard Kamala Harris state. Ripple and XRP are playing a pivotal role in the global stage, and that's why I'll continue to say time and time again, this lawsuit is a facade and a distraction away from you being able to invest now and earn your spot and getting some generational wealth from this digital asset. Pay attention and stay the course. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
I'm Anthony Welfare. I'm Senior Advisor for CBDCs at Ripple. I've been around the blockchain space for enterprise blockchain for about 7 years, and I've written a book on it as well. So if you want to learn lots about commercializing blockchain, have a look at good bookshops. Ripple's about 750 people. We're growing massively, which means I never update the slides. So we grew by about 300-400 people last year. We're cross-border, known for our cross-border payments, but we also do lots of other sort of projects using XRP Ledger and other sort of technologies. One of those is CBDCs, and we've been working on CBDCs for around about 3 years now. A CBDC is issued by a central bank. Okay, so it's the same as the dollar or the euro in your pocket. It's issued by the central bank and it's to use, and in whichever country you are, etc. In the middle, we have this mix. SCBDC is sort of synthetic CBDC, which is like a CBDC that could be issued by a commercial bank as part of the banking system. This bit in the middle is work in progress. I used to have a slide with loads of different sort of explanations of stablecoins and different types of stablecoins, and literally I'm sure it'd be 20 slides. There's lots of different words and meanings. It could be a world of 20, 30, 50% cryptocurrency, 1% CBDC or vice versa, or any sort of mix on that. So we need to be ready for a world of interoperability and sort of bringing this all together. What do you need for a successful CBDC? James mentioned this yesterday very quickly, so I'll talk. A regulatory framework. There's been so much discussion over the last few days. We need the regulation, and we need it to come out. We need it to be fair and reasonable, and plenty of discussion about that. We need the technology enablers. So we have the technology, but we still need to work on how to make it better, quicker, and easier to use for us as humans. The most important point for me is that I can use this currency as well as my gran, who's 99, or my mum. We should all be able to use it the same. And then finally, most importantly, is benefits. There's no point building a CBDC or a regulated stablecoin for the fun of it. Like, there's just no point. Build it for benefits. And let's talk about a few. So a CBDC I can send from me to anybody straight away. I don't need a bank. I don't need anyone else. Programmable payments, so you can make it pay and do different things, split payments, and do things like, whatever you need in terms of smart contracts, programmability. Transparency, really important. Everything that's on a blockchain is trusted and trackable, okay? It doesn't mean everybody has to see everything. Yesterday there was a discussion, banks do not want everyone to see every transaction on a blockchain. But there may be certain points, certain levels that may or may not. So in essence, you can control that. That's the point. And then the last one, it restructures the cost base. If we have a payment that we can make A to B without any intermediaries, it's a lot cheaper because you've not got all the intermediaries in between. Benefits, innovation in new industries. I'll give you an example on that. Financial inclusion, the network grows, it scales, improved liquidity because you've got more currency flowing. Optimizes the value chain so you can pay up and down the value chain, the supply chain very quickly. And then obviously insight and risk management. Everything's tracked, so therefore you can get better analysis and information. Let's give you an example. So, everybody knows the gig economy. We all know, we've been talking about this for a while. This is a massive, industry. So, $455 billion, and I'm sure there's other estimates that are just as big. There's 3 reasons why this economy is still growing fairly slowly. Centralized digital platforms, complexity of huge payments. So imagine your Uber payments when you use a taxi. There's so many small transactions and there's millions of them. And then to grow these, there's a lot of capital. If you use a Cbdc, you will be able to fast track a lot of this and make it quicker and easier. This is real. We're working with a number of central banks. These are the 2 that we have announced. Royal Monetary Authority of Bhutan, that's the full Cbdc, so they're a sovereign nation, and that's issuing and using their currency, and that's sort of very, very much in progress. And then finally, Palau, which is going to be a government-backed stablecoin, a US dollar stablecoin, but it's backed by the Palau government. And the money will be held 1-for-1. So it's a regulated stablecoin, and one of the first that will come out. Okay, so thank you very much for that, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's Cbdc effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at Swift, former Swift board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, Worldwide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.